Hello, Cork International Choral Festival admins. How are you? I would like to share something with you. Something I've been working on the side while I've had a few spare hours and a few spare days, which is to actually come up with a new design for the Cork International Choral Festival website. And I hope you'll spare me a few minutes so I can actually show you the work that I've done. And if this is something that you're interested in, it really wouldn't be much effort to actually make it your new website. So let's jump straight in while we're here. This is your existing website. This is a redesigned website that I made as a clone of your existing website. Now, a few notes about that. It's still a WordPress website, so all of the existing content is carried over. All of the most of the admin features are still available, and I've added some extra admin features, which I'll show you, which will make administration much easier in the future, which is good. And also, there's been other improvements too, so I'd like to share that with you. If you'll just bear with me, and we'll just go from the top to the bottom on your landing page. As you can see, this is a newly designed landing page. Uses a design style called Bento. Anyway, it's pretty cool. You have these panels here basically, which are also links. This one is will open up the promotional video, which can be set in the page settings. You have an About Us link and a Tickets link, although those could be changed to other things. And then the main panel here describes the event. Again, pulling in the dynamic data from your page settings here, your site settings with the festival dates. And then we have a link to the international applications. This could be 2 buttons, or it could be 1, or you could change the button to another link if you wanted that. So just going down logically through the site, I went at this from the idea that I have never visited your site before and I don't know anything about it. And I thought we could improve the landing page in a way that would make more sense to the average visitor. So this is an introduction section which is going to introduce the event to the visitor. Again, images are placeholder images, like this one could be swapped out, no problem at all. Some of the text is placeholder as well. We have this very cool double tab section, keyboard navigational tab section here for international choirs and national choirs, which gives a short description of what that is, and then a link to that part of your website as well, then placeholder images to accompany each tab. I thought that was pretty nifty and a good way to present that information to the visitor. Okay, moving down, we have a blog section with your 3 latest blog posts, which will automatically appear here. And then finally, not finally, but we do have a reviews section which scrolls through the reviews. Again, this is all managed from within your WordPress admin. So when you add new reviews in the backend in your WordPress dashboard, those reviews will appear here. The images at the moment are placeholder images, but we'd replace those with actual images if we could. And then we have this section here just to hammer home some of the dates and the logo, and the we have the countdown similar to on your existing site. And then we have these 3 last links here, which is discover the events, discover our venues, and discover the choirs. So these panels link to those sections on your website, which are where all of your events, venues, and choirs are listed, and then administrated from the admin. Now, and good to note on this section as well, where it says 75, 61, and 118 here, those are dynamically updated numbers that reflect the actual number of events and the actual number of venues and the actual number of choirs that you've added in the WordPress dashboard. So as you remove and add new events, this number changes along with those changes in the WordPress dashboard. So there's nothing to do on this page at all. I try to make everything as automatic as possible so that it removes going to me for changes or doing changes yourself or having to check all these different pages every single time you make a change on the website. The website should automatically update, which it does. So then we have your sponsors. Here's this section. Again, these sponsor images are linked. And then a newly designed footer, which still has a newsletter sign up, but you now have some more, you use the navigation links in the footer, which is quite common, and your privacy policy and your social links and all that are in the footer as well. You may need to add in a couple, I think you have some logos in your existing footer. Those logos may need to be added in if you were going to go with this design. So that's the landing page in a nutshell. Again, there's just a lot of placeholder stuff going on here, but from my point of view, a much more usable and understandable format of content moving from the top to the bottom for your average visitor who's going to be visiting this page from anywhere on the internet. Okay, let me show you the improved navigation menu with the new framework. The big drop-down links now have a really clean, really presentable style. And we're even able to include a lovely sidebar in each one of these larger drop-down menus because we have a much cleaner and better format of all the links. So, for example, on the festival drop-down, we have your normal links. We also have a sidebar with all the visitor information, which is really cool. On the About drop-down, we have the About Us links and the Supporters link, and we even have the latest blog posts automatically populate that sidebar. Compare that with your existing mega menu. We have all the same links, but the information is a little bit more scattered. Just the presentation of it isn't quite what we have with the new mega menu style. Now take a look at the mobile navigation menus, and we're going to compare the two sites. On the new mobile navigation menu, when you open it up, it's full screen. You're presented with the top level menu links. If I want to go into any of these, it just opens up a brand new panel, slides in, lovely and clean. I've got all my links presented from top to bottom. If I want to go back out, I've got a back button to do it. I can go into the About. Again, all the links are presented so clearly with their category headers, and everything that just looks perfect. I even have my blog post at the bottom, exactly how it is on the desktop. It's just presented in a very clear format. It just works so well. And you have your logo and your tickets button. Everything's presented in such a clear way. Really important for mobile users. Most users now are visiting sites on mobile devices. It's really important to have a good mobile nav. On your existing site, the mobile nav is perfectly functional. You have more of an accordion style. Some of these links are links that they don't appear to be links, but they are, like international participation is a link. That probably should be more obvious. So even though your current navigation menu for mobiles is functional, there are a lot of improvements that could be made to it. And honestly, you should be replacing it with a much better mobile navigation system, especially for your site where you have so many links, you have so many pages, you have so much content on your site. You really want your mobile users to be able to find that content effectively and easily. And I think this new mobile nav really accomplishes that task perfectly. Now let's talk about some of the extra admin features that I added, which will make the site much easier to keep updated for your admins on an ongoing basis. The first one of those is the festival recordings page, which currently looks like this. And it's basically built with the WordPress block editor. Every time you want to add a new recording section, the admin has to essentially edit this page. They have to add a new row or a new block of content. They have to add the specific download that should be featured in that, and I have to make sure that everything looks okay. And there's a bit of fiddling around and a bit of design work, and you know, this year I've decided to go with an accordion thing. Okay, fair enough. So that's how it's done currently. With the new system, we have the festival recordings page like this. And you can see we have a very, pretty similar system. We have a section for 2024, section for 2023, and a section for 2022 with them added in. Except the big difference now is that the admins no longer need to edit this page. This page does no longer need to be maintained at all by any admins at all. It will automatically add a new download, basically product, when a new product is added in the WordPress dashboard. So in the easy digital downloads module in the WordPress dashboard, as soon as you add a new download and make it and publish it and make it available, it will be added on this page, and it'll look like just all the rest. And the add to cart links will work perfectly. Everything works exactly as it should, and this page never needs to be looked at essentially or managed at all by the admin. Another admin upgrade, which is very similar to the downloads, is the photo galleries. We were already creating galleries in the Enviro gallery module of the WordPress admin. There's the 2022 gallery and the 2023 gallery. And we were doing it previously was we were adding those galleries with a short code or with some code to a newly created page. Again, you have to manage that page on the WordPress editor and then adding the gallery in there, and that's where the gallery lives. But now, instead of that system, we're just going to use the built-in Enviro gallery. So each gallery actually has its own URL by default, and we can just open that URL and you get the gallery on its page. Now this is kind of stripped down. We may want to actually add in an option to add some content in here for your photographer credits or anything you want to say about the page. So we can add in a little bit of content here. But essentially the photo gallery just opens on its own page, and you don't need to create a page for it because it has its own page. And so that's another stripped down, streamlined admin feature that's been added to the site for your galleries. Another admin feature that I've added is in the site settings in the dashboard. You can go to a new tab called Other Settings, where you'll see three options for the holding pages for the site. This is something that every single year we have to basically change the website template to put up a holding page while you guys are adding in your new choirs and your new events and your new venues. And we put holding pages up, and then you email me back and you say, take the holding page off. Well, now we just have simple toggles in the site settings, and when we toggle those and save, it actually changes on the front end of on the website. So here's your festival events page on the new site with the events listed from top to bottom. And now if we go in here and we select the events holding page and turn that on and update the settings, and we refresh here on the front end, we have a coming soon page with a newsletter sign up or whatever we want to put here. We can design this holding page to suit you, but essentially no more sending emails. It's just simply done in the site settings. And yet another admin time-saving feature I've added is on the Festival Archive page. You'll notice that we do have your Festival Archive links here with their background images and their PDF links available. However, and again, similar to the downloads page, the admin doesn't need to edit this page anymore. This is automatically created in the WordPress editor. If I edit the Festival Archive page, all I have is a little bit of text at the top, and then we have a nice table section below, which lists all of the existing Festival Archive links and background images and dates. And so each one of these rows corresponds with one of these panels. So in the future, adding a new archive is as simple as going to the bottom, adding a new row, copying in the elements that you need. Let's just give it a date. Change that to 2025. We add the background image in, like so. And then we can add our PDF link or whatever it needs to be on an external website or on the existing website. If we save that page, now it's done on the front and it appears there, and there's no more messing again with background images and sizes and text images and fonts and colors, overlay colors. It's just done. It's ready to go. As soon as you make the adjustment in the back, it's on the front and it's done. Okay, another cool admin feature that I've added for page editors is when you're editing a page in the WordPress editor, you have the title of the page, you have the content of the page, and at the bottom we have some new header layout styles at the bottom of the page. We have image below, image right, no image, and background image. So for every page on your site, you can choose the header layout style, and that corresponds with the layout style in the front. Currently, the accommodation and travel guide page has the no image style, which looks like this, very stripped down, very clean. If we wanted to change that to an image right, I would just select that header layout style, save the page, refresh on the front end, and now we have image on the right style. And so you have 4 options to choose from, and each one has its own sort of vibe and feel to it. So you can select which one is the most appropriate for your page. And that's available for every page on the website. Now, in terms of editing pages, this is another big feature, which I think is going to it's just a big improvement for the visual design of the site overall, and as well for just making editing the site much easier as in terms of pages and using the default WordPress editor for these pages. You'll notice that, for example, on the Become a Volunteer page, we have our outline of our elements here, going from a heading at the very top, an H3 heading, 2 paragraph elements, a container with your checklist, more paragraph elements, and finally a button at the bottom. You might notice there are no spacer elements here. For example, this is what it used to look like. If you add a spacer in here, you could space out a couple of elements a little bit, and that was because if you didn't add space, they'd get squashed together, and it really wasn't great. So you had to add those spacer elements individually. You had to add those spacer elements in, get your spacing looking right, check it on the front end, come back, maybe tweak some spacing a little bit. Anyway, that's what the process was previously. You'll notice that on the new site, they become a volunteer page. The heading and the paragraph elements are automatically spaced. And then also there's an automatic spacing between the element and this container. Where you have a checklist. The checklist is also spaced out perfectly, and then you have more paragraphs and you have a button at the bottom. And each element is automatically spaced away from the other one, and it's done mathematically and it's done automatically. So you do not need to go in and add spacing to elements. They will automatically space themselves out, and that's just how the system works, and that's how it should work. So if we go back in here, for example, let's look at this checklist as well. If we open the container and look at the list, you'll notice that, in fact, it's just using the default, no longer we're using the cadence block list, we're using the default WordPress block editor list item, but I've gone in here and there's a new style called check. And I've added this to the block editor, so now anytime you would want a checklist instead of a standard bulleted list, you just select the check style. It's optional for you whether you want to change the icon color, and then you save that, and you'll have a checklist instead of the list item. Speaking of those extra elements, I've eliminated the cadence blocks from this redesigned website. I've removed that plugin, and I've converted all the existing cadence blocks to the default elements that are available in the WordPress block editor. And I've done that for a couple of reasons. First of all, we've noticed over the last few years that as these sites are being used for a while, they're available for a few years. Cadence blocks, for example, that's an add-on package, and that add-on package has its own updates, and it goes through new versions and stuff. And when that happens, it often, not always, but it can often break an existing element that you have on your site. So it might break that checklist that you had. It might break that row or that container or that background image, or the font size might change. And that's a bit of an issue. We don't really want a website where we have to go back in and check everything after we update the plugin. It's very important to do plugin updates because it's for security purposes, but it's really a big pain when it breaks your website. We don't want that. So what we'd like to do is eliminate those third-party packages like cadence blocks, use the default WordPress blocks like the list element, and then just have an extra option within that default block, which is check. And that does everything that we need, and we don't have these third-party plugins. The second good thing about that is that it removes scripts and styles, these extra things that the plugin adds to your website. It removes those from the page as they're loaded. So your page will actually load faster, both from an admin point of view and from the user point of view and the public people who are visiting your site. They'll get a faster, more responsive site because you have less third-party plugins activated on your website. So it's a win-win-win all the way around. We're going to start using default elements when we're using the block editor, and then just work within the parameters of those default elements. And as you'll see, there's no issue with that. The default button element now is just a regular button. I've done no styling to it. I've done no changes. I haven't done anything to make that button look like the other buttons on your website. It has the same font size, it has the same amount of padding, it has the same corners, it has the same color, but that is just a regular button that I've just added in the block editor, and it automatically has the right format. So we're going to do that for all the elements now. Everything will look very cohesive, and that's really important. Now, in terms of performance, there's been a number of improvements to performance as well, and accessibility. And I'm going to just give you a quick outline of what that is. So your existing website, coral.ie, has a performance score of 83, 87, 96, and 92. Not too bad, really, for a website of the size that you have and the amount of content that you have. It's a fairly complex site, and you would expect a good performance score, but not a 100 by any means because of the amount of content that you have. Now on the redesigned site, you'll notice we have much better score, 97, 94, 100, and 100, which is fantastic. I think we can get accessibility up to 100 very easily, and performance is essentially at 100 already. So we've got a greatly improved performance already on the website, and I think we can get that up to 100. So you do have some performance improvements here, and again, that is because we're eliminating some of those third-party packages. We're using a new framework on the website for the design, which is more streamlined and more efficient, and so that's going to have a big effect on the performance of the website on the front end. Now let's talk about accessibility for a minute. This is something that we looked at previously with your last iteration of your website from 2021. And that is that for visitors to your site who are using screen readers, people who are visually impaired, people who are deaf as well, they need to be able to use the website with their extra tools. And so one of the things that you need to be able to do is to be able to tab through the website with their keyboard. As you can see, as I'm tabbing through, it's adding that fuchsia outline to the elements. For example, if I go back to this tab section, I can tab back and forth with my keyboard. I can keep going down. There's my link. I can keep going down. There's my blog post. Each individual blog post is being highlighted as well. So that's how accessibility works. That's really, really great. That's just one part of it. If I open my accessibility helper, I can do an accessibility check on this page. Okay. I've got two minor issues that it's highlighted. One with text contrast. I think I know what that's about. That's got to be down here. On this section, these sponsor text needs to be darker to give more contrast to the background. That's what it's talking about there. And then this one is with the email field down here in the newsletter sign up. That needs to have some kind of a reference tag added to it so that the screen reader knows what it is. And that's basically it. They're the only issues I could find as far as accessibility on this homepage. Okay, everything else we've passed with flying colors. That's why how you get to basically a 100. If we eliminate those other two things, it's a 100 on the accessibility score. Now on your existing site, let's do the same thing. Let's open up our accessibility checker. Okay, we've got a whole number of issues here. We've got missing anchors, we've got semantic links issue, we've got text contracts issue, going right down, duplicate IDs, there's 51 of those, and screen reader links, there's 10 missing screen reader links as well. So on your existing site, there are quite a few things that need to be improved for accessibility, whereas on the redesign site, we're basically at 100 from the start. Just those two minor issues need to be adjusted, and you've got a 100 on the accessibility. So for your colorblind and for your deaf and for your hard of hearing and visually impaired users, they will have a very usable site that works exactly as they need it to. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to me rant about this website redesign. Again, this is something I do in my spare time. I go through client websites and I just see if there's any improvements that can be made. Often using a new updated framework and using some of these new tricks and tools, we can get a much better site without much difficulty because we already have the content. So if this is something you're excited about and you want to get these updated changes on your existing website, all we have to do is basically schedule a window where we can do the migration and essentially copy these new features onto your existing website so that you keep all the content and all the things that you've been doing recently, but you get the new design and the new admin features. So just let me know what you think about that. If you're excited, if you're intrigued, if you're worried, if you're concerned or scared, just let me know how you're feeling and how you'd like to proceed with that. And I'm always here to help. So give me a shout. Look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for your time.